Well, how you doing again? I'm working on my first web page again, and we're down here at HTML dog, and we're getting ready. We did colors last time, and we're getting to move through text and all that. So let's get started. Uh, Text family in itself. The user's browsers has to be able to find the font you specify. Not all browsers recognize all fonts, so that's something to consider. So we give them a choice, and the font family is Arial, Helvetica, and Serif. And we'll look at the Arial font first, and if the browser can't find it, it will search for Helvetica and then a common serif font. So you're pretty much safe with that. If the name of the font is more than one word, font family times New Roman, it should be put in quotation marks. So that's good to know. Font size. Uh, uh, it's font size is font size for me, but the text such as headings should not just be be an HTML paragraph in a large font. You should still use headings H1, even though in practice you could make the font size of a paragraph larger than that of the heading. Not recommended for sensible people. We have a font weight. We can go from a font weight of bold or a font weight of normal, but other values are bolder, lighter, and same as normal, 500, 600, 700, and same as bold is 800 and 900. We can play around with these font weights values if you want and see their effect on their browsers. Anything other than bold and normal, so we suggest sticking to those. They're just for normal standardization. Font style, this states whether the text is italic or not. It can be font style italic or font style normal. Usually it's normal, but we do use italic sometimes. Text decorations, basically for web links on your web page. So text decoration, underline, overline, and line through. Uh, uh, let's see, underline should only really be used for links. That's the gist of it. Text transformation. This is a kind of a neat. I thought it was kind of neat. Text transform capitalized turns the first letter of every word into uppercase. Text transform uppercase turns everything into uppercase. Text transform lowercase turns everything into lowercase, and text transform none. I'll leave the web to figure that one out. So a few of these things used together might look like this. Alright, before we move on from this introduction to styling, a quick look on how to space out the text on a page. Letter spacing and word spacing properties are for spacing between letters and words. The value can be length or normal. The line height property sets the height of the lines in an element, such as paragraph, without adjusting the size. So we can do text line height and text letter spacing also. Text line align property right here will align the text inside the element to the left, right, center, and justified. Text indent property. Indent the first line of the paragraph, for example, to give a length or percentage. This is style traditionally used in print, but rarely in digital media, such as the web. So we have our little snippet of CSS coding right here, and it looks something like this. I can let's see here, we have all our styles here, and we'll change our style sheet in our HTML document, and we'll go with A because I believe that's what it is. We'll save it, and then we'll refresh our browser, and that's what it looks like. Basically, with a few changes. But I can also do it this way. We can take this, copy it, we can just copy this part here, do that, and then we can find our style note A down here, right there. That brings it up front, and as you can see, it's not in there. So what we have to do is we have to adjust it. So we do shift bracket P. I'm sorry, it's P space bracket, and then we can paste our info in there, paste, and then we can do our other close bracket and then save it, and then save there. And that should change our, and there it does there. And that's what it looks like. It changes our paragraph in our word spacing and letter spacing. So let's take a look at that. So this is 0.5. So let's say that's a little too drastic for me, so I want to go 25. And the word spacing is a little too drastic, so let's go down to 1. Line height, let's say I want just 1. We can use 1.0 or 1.10. And text line, let's say I want it left instead of center. And let's see what that does. Left. And then we'll save our style sheet to our HTML document and refresh it, and it changes it a little bit to a little closer together and what have you. So that helps out a lot on your paragraph text formatting. Alright, let's go back down here, and we're going to do margins and padding next. Okay, we're going to change our text, or change the CSS code for H2 to the following. Alright, so let's find that one. We'll match them up here. That's not it. There it is, style C. So now we'll change our document on our HTML dog, and we'll say we'll change that to C because it's style sheet C, which I prepared before all of this. Save, and then we'll refresh this, and then that's what that does to it. And then it changes a few things because when we get into later on into this little chapter here, we'll get style sheet, title, and all that. But up here, our font size is 2EM. We can change our font size of our H1 heading, and we'll save that. And then we also can do font family area. Let's just say I don't want all of that. I just want sans serif. Okay, and then let's say I don't want 14px for my font size on all my stuff. So let's say I only want 9px. My font size we changed to 1, and then the font size 1.5 EM. Let's say I don't like that. Well, let's see what that looks like first. And then that's what it looks like right there. And we can we can change all that. Our heading is let's say 1.10. Let's say I don't like that CCCC color, and let's say I want to put, let's just guess at it, DDD. Let's say that one, and let's say my margins around this title of H2, that'd be this one down here, one of these down here. Let's say I want my margin to be 10. And let's say my padding is way too large and I want to bring that down to 20. And we'll save that, and we can keep the all the word spacing, line height, and all that the same. And we'll save that style sheet. We'll open it up and we'll refresh it and see what it looks like. And then there you go, it changes right before your eyes, and that's what it'll look like when we change all that information. All right. This leaves a 20 pixel width space around the secondary header, and the header itself is fat from the 40 pixel width padding. So we changed all that, and we can see the difference of the of changing these H2s to a different value. The margin and the padding. The four sides of the element, margin top, margin right, left padding, the bottom padding, are the self-explanatory properties you can see. Later on we'll be seeing that. And then of course the box model. Here's the box model. Margins, padding, borders are all part of what's known as the box model. The box model works like this. In the middle you have the content area, let's say an image, and then surrounding that you have the padding and the border, and the surrounding that you have the margin. So here's your margin box, here's your border box, and there's your padding box. And that's what it looks like. Get that right in view for you. So yep, there's your margin box, there's your border box, there's a padding box, and then there's your element box right there. And we can actually see that on our tools in our web developer, and we open up our web console, and we go to inspector on there, and then over here we go over to box model, and there it is right down here. And it's, as you can see, it's 1563 by 10, and it's static, and you have 000 all the way around, and that's going to be the format for this page. So that's kind of a neat thing to be able to see that on the web developer tool. And then we'll close out of the web developer tool for now and go back to what we're doing. Alright, so this pretty much wraps up this that chapter. Then we go to our borders. And to make border around an element, all you need is a border style. The values can be solid, dotted, dash, double, groove, ridge, and inset and outset. Border width sets the width, and most commonly used pixels as a value. There are also properties for border top width, border right width, border bottom width, and border left width. Finally, border color sets the color. Add the following code to your CSS file. Okay, so if I sit here and look at this, and let's see if I did that. There's D. Nope, I sure didn't. So what we do is we copy that, just like that, and then we can go right there on our notepad where our style C sheet and paste it. And there you go, and then we will save it. And that's under our H2. Now if we refresh this, and there's our borders there. So now when we get to play around with this, we'll change these back to what they were. That was 1.5. The color, we'll just leave the color there. 10 pixels. The margin was actually 20 on that one. And this was 40. Very large. And then border style is dashed. Let's say we wanted a different, instead of this dashed line, we wanted a solid line. So let's change that to solid. And then the border width, let's say that's a little too large or too small, whichever. Let's go to 6. And then border left width, let's reduce that, let's say down to 3. And then the border right width, we can just change, let's say just 9, so the left will be smaller than the right. And border color, let's say we don't like that color and we want to go with teal. File, save, and then we refresh it, and there you go. It changes the borders of the whole document, and it's very very useful, and we can change that back to FFF, save, and it changes that to white, and that's how that's the background color. So we can manipulate all this information fairly quickly with the CSS sheet offline and away, and then when we need to move up, and we can even test it. As you can see, we can test it without the use of the internet. Next is putting it all together. You should have a basic HTML file when you're through with all this, and CSS link to it. The code below covers all this basic stuff. So when we go to, I believe it's style note D, I believe that's it. We have body, font family, 14px, and I already changed the color. Okay, so this is our style notepad. So when I open up my HTML, hdog.html, and I just want to use my style sheet, just style.css, not any of the others, I save it, and then I open it up or refresh it, and there's what it looks like. That's the information that he wants to show us, or she, on the HTML dogs. Now we can change all this stuff over if we want to. We have the heading, the body, simple page put together, and that's what it looks like. And here's the colors here. It was 900 background color. We can change the background color, let's say 800, and we'll save that. and refresh, and that changes the background color to maroon. So we can that's up for your heading 1. Let's say I want to change the background color of this. Let's say I wanted instead of FFC, I wanted FF, if there is a Z, don't know, we'll say save and refresh, and it changes it a little lighter color. So as you can see, just by playing around with the colors, we can have a different look. Let's say on our heading 2 color, we wanted that FFC color there. So let's say pound FFC, file, save, and then refresh it, and there you go, it's a different color. That's for your heading 2, background color silver. Let's say I want it the same as my background color up here, so I'm going to put that as pound 800. And there you go. It just, you're able to do a lot of things on this, and we can even, I changed this earlier and I moved it way over to the right. That's 100 px there for this space and that space. They have it like at 20 px, I believe. We'll save that and refresh it, and the words move right on over. So we can manipulate this form fairly quickly just simply by having a CSS sheet. Here's the other one. Let's say I wanted my other headings, these headings here, heading 3s. Let's say I wanted them a different color. Let's try a pound 700. I'm just guessing at these, and because I know the value, I mean, I'd look it up normally, but we have to save it and then refresh it, and there you go. And it looks more like a brown, so that's a 700, and we can change the font size, and I believe this was 1.50 on that. Change that to a 1.50, and these should become larger. Save and then refresh. There you go, and that's what that all looks like. Now on this border style, we have an image here. Let's say we want a dashed line instead of the solid line. Dashed. Save it and then refresh, and it gives me a dashed line around my image. And I can border width, let's say that's too big, and 2, file, save, and the border width should go smaller, and it does. And the border color, and we can change that, and we have a lot of practice with that. So text, there's no text decoration, and the strong font is italic and uppercase. We can do lowercase or whichever, we'll just leave it there. And the line colors, the lines down here, that's a different color. Let's say red, so we can see where they're at. And we'll file, save it, and refresh it. And where is those reds? He doesn't have any lines in here that are red. No, there they are. So that changes that color. In font style normal. Table background color. Let's say I didn't like that color and I wanted that one red. We'll do the save and refresh it, and that should have changed the table's background color to red, and it did. It was gray before. And that's pretty much it for this chapter. So we can do a lot of things and use that web developer tool to our advantage. You don't have to be that scared of it. It's not going to change anything on any website. We can do our inspection, and we can change our style sheet, edit as HTML, and we can actually, let's say I wanted to look at C again, and there it is there, our C, style sheet C. Let's say I wanted to look at my other style sheet. This won't save it, it won't change it or anything, it just looks at it, that's all it does. And we'll change it right here, right there, in between the two quotations after href, because this is a link relative to style sheet, and then it's reference to style sheet or whichever. Let's say I want to look at style sheet A. And we'll close that, and we're back at A at the beginning of our tutorial. So simply by making different style sheets and putting them in the same directory, we can use them like baseball cards or trading cards, and we can see what the number one, the lessons that we're learning, what they all are, and two, we can work on these offline, and when we get ready to use them, we don't have to sit there and be on the internet or in our web host to do it. So hopefully all this information helps us out. And then the next thing is HTML intermediate tutorial. So hopefully you guys are hyped for that. I am. And hopefully you have a great day. Thanks for watching.